All of us in this room are here because we were fortunate enough to know someone who was such a bright light, a spirit full of pure kindness, total goodness, and so much love. Everyone in this room was touched by the kind voice, the big heart, and the abundant wisdom of someone very, very special. Mama Shoyle, Shirley, our beloved Shirley Segal, Shirley Segal, forever changed all of our lives just for knowing her. We all felt like we were so special to her, that to her, we were just the most amazing creature ever made. We were the best at what we did. There was no one like us in this world, no one who could do any better, all in her bright eyes. She made us feel very rich in that she saw only the good in who we were. That special chen, that charm that she had for all of us is hard to describe or compare. But all I can think about is that if you're a naughty kid and you're doing something you're not supposed to do, and you have that mother who looks at you with her sparkle and her twinkle, like it's not so bad, we can ignore this one, and she only sees the good in you when you do the wrong on occasion. That's what Shirley had for all of us. She really had that mother's eye, that we could do no wrong, and we for her were truly so special. So for her more than 90 years, she made us feel great about who we are, and today is our opportunity to give it back, to kvel, to enjoy, to delight in her greatness. A lot of the time in her life, it was not so easy to praise her. She was very good at changing the subject, moving the conversation along, but sadly, and also for good, she's not here to make us stop. So we're here to take you along on a beautiful ride through her life, through the goodness of her personhood, through who she was in the most special way. And also, as we talk about her, we can't avoid the fact that she was her family and her friends. And we will share the goodness, the greatness of her beautiful family and her friends that made her special life possible. The message for today is that all of her hard work, her devotion, her intelligence, and her spirit did a lot of good and got noticed by us in a very big way. And today we want you to hear about it. We want to share her stories, her life with you, so we can all enjoy her together. So the last few days have not been very easy, have been very busy for the family. But despite that, her loving and creative daughters, their spouses, their family, their friends, have been very busy working on today's program. They wanted to make sure that they came up with the most beautiful tribute possible to her. They wanted to make sure that we could all together, as a group of people, as one big family, show her our love, our thanks, and our incredible awe for her. What further blesses the service, besides the hard work that went into it and the love of her family, is the fact that she herself was the guide. You have before you a program which contains her own words, how to describe her life, and you have in this program many elements that were inspired and encouraged by her own wisdom. She had you guys in mind. She wanted you to have just the right experience as you said your goodbye to her. So much like her and her personhood, today's service will be quite eclectic. We'll have many different features. There will be, of course, the various holy traditions of a Jewish funeral service. There'll be lots of beautiful and soul-stirring words from her dear daughters and family and friends. And these will be interspersed with beautiful music and reflections. And to top it all off, there'll be a lot of extra spice and flair, and to complement it all towards the end of today's chapel service. But amidst all these different elements and all these different pieces that you will hear today, the unifying factor of today is the sharing of the love that Shirley had for all of us, just to make sure that her love went around and our love went back to her. And if I may say so, what would her wish be? Her wish for us today would be that we grieve a little, if we must, but more so that we leave here with warm hearts and good stories and a smile for having known someone as special and as amazing as her. So we have a nice program, so we can actually follow along these different steps in today's process. We're going to be opening up by saying the Eshet Chayil, the woman of valor, which is Proverbs 31, verses 10 through 31. And you can actually find the English translation at the back of your program. Eshes Chayil miyimsa v'rachok mipni michra batach balev bala v'shala lo yeksar Gamal su tov eloira kol yemei chayecha darshet semer ufishtim bitas bechapes kapecha haisa kani oisaicher mimerchak tavi lachma bitakam biyahai laila bititin teref levesa v'chak narosecha zamama sadevedikachehu mipri kapechnata karem Hagra be'ois masnecha, v'tamez roesecha, tama ki toiv sachra, lo yechbe belayla, neire yadecha shilcha v'kishor, v'kapecha samchu fa'ale, kappa parsa liani, ve'yadecha shilcha li'evyon l'sira l'mbesa mishaleg, ki kol besa levushanim, marbadi masasala, Sheish vargaman levusha, noda bisharim bala, bishifto im zikne yaret sadi masasavatim kor, vehagor nasno knani, oiz vehadar levusha, batischak liyoim acharon, bicha pacha behachma, besairas chesed al lishoina, Sophia halicha ispesa, belecha matzus lesochel, Kamu vanech ve'ashura bala vayehalala rabos banos hasochayil v'yatali salkulana sheker achein vehevel hayofi isha yiras adonai hisis halil tenula mipri yadecha v'halalucha A woman of valor who can find, she is more precious than corals. Her husband places her trust in her and profits only thereby. She brings him good, not harm, all the days of her life. She seeks out wool and flax and cheerfully does the work of her hands. She is like the trading ships, bringing food from afar. She gets up while it is still night to provide food for her household and a fair share for her staff. She considers a field and purchases it, and plants a vineyard with the fruit of her labors. She invests herself with strength and makes her arms powerful. She senses that her trade is profitable. Her light does not go out at night. She stretches out her hands to the distaff and her palms to hold the spindle. She opens her hands to the poor and reaches out her hands to the needy. She has no fear of the snow, for her whole household, is dressed in fine clothing. She makes her own bedspreads. Her clothing is of fine linen and luxurious cloth. Her husband is known at the gates where he sits with the elders of the land. She makes and sells linens. She supplies the merchants with sashes. She is robed in strength and dignity, and she smiles at the future. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and a lesson of kindness is on her tongue. She looks after the conduct of her household and never tastes the bread of laziness. Her children rise up and make her happy. Her husband praises her. Many women have excelled, but you excel them all. Grace is elusive and beauty is vain, but a woman who fears God, she shall be praised. Give her the credit for the fruit of her labors, and let her achievements praise her at the gates. The 23rd Psalm is a very comforting psalm. It talks about how God is with us all the time, in the good times of life, and also in the bad times of life. I will read now the Hebrew, and we've also provided a familiar English translation in your booklet, which we're going to follow along together after the recitation in Hebrew. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai roi lo iksar, binois deshech yarbitzeni, al mei menuchos yenachaleni. Nafshi yishovev yancheni v'magli tzedek leman shmo. Gam ki elach begeit salmaves, lo irara ki ata imadi. Shiftecha o mishantecha, heima yenachamoni. Tarach lefanai shulchan neged sarai, Tishanta v'sheman roshi kosi revaya, Ach tov v'chesed yirdefuni kol yemei chayai, V'shavte v'beis adinoi, L'orach yamim. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. So we're now at the part of the service where we get to enjoy the personal reflections. And I'd like to call upon first a close family friend and Rabbi Robert Shafran.
I was fortunate to know Shirley Segal for almost 50 years. Amazes me to hear myself say that. I first met her when, as a wee lad of 17 years old, I became friends with Jean. And that friendship grew and evolved to include all of her sisters, and both Hank and Shirley, and even some members of her extended family. The Segal-Resnick clan has been an important, big part of my life for most of my life. And so it's a great privilege to be able to address you and pay tribute to Shirley's memory today. And I think that it's safe to say that all of us who are going to be speaking today are trying to express something that is almost surely beyond words. The best we can hope to do is circle around what we're trying to get at, but if enough of us come at it from enough different perspectives and circle in our own unique ways, hopefully we'll convey a sense of what it is at the center of it all. 2 days before Shirley breathed her last, as she began the final stage of her passing, Jean texted me with an update of her condition. Sadly, the final steps of her earthly journey were taken over some pretty rocky terrain, which distressed us all. And Jean ended her poignant text to me with a rhetorical question: why is it so hard to leave this world? And I'd like to give you my answer to that question now. And I put it to you directly. It's so very difficult to leave this world because this world, this life, this existence, with all of its pain and all of its trials and all of its traumas and catastrophes, is nevertheless wondrous and beautiful and awesome beyond measure. We cling to life because we love life, passionately, achingly. This is one of those fundamental truths that we tend to forget in the bustle of our day-to-day, but which the passing of one that we hold dear reminds us of with great power and force. Because grief and sorrow, in revealing to us the magnitude of our loss, also reveal to us the depths of our passionate commitment to and embrace of the living. That magnificent poet and philosopher Khalil Gibran said it about as well as it can be said. He wrote, Your pain is the breaking of the shell that encloses your understanding. And could you keep your heart in wonder at the miracles of your daily life, your pain would not seem less wondrous than your joy. It was hard for Shirley Segal to leave this world because she loved life, achingly, passionately. This fact was borne out by everything she ever said and did in her whole long life. But perhaps it came into clearest focus only near the end of her life. When Shirley was diagnosed with an aggressive form of leukemia about 2 years ago, I have to confess that my immediate response was, well, that's that. I just assumed that at her age, she would forego the rigors of chemotherapy that at best promised to extend her life by a handful of months. But not so fast. Shirley had other plans. Shirley wanted to give it a go, and then if it proved to be too debilitating or too awful or too degrading or burdensome to herself and others, she would abandon it and she would resign herself to the inevitable. Shirley Segal was not afraid of death. She chose life out of love of life. And then when Hank died, we all again collectively held our breath to see how it would impact Shirley. And of course she grieved. She grieved deeply. But she didn't pine away. I saw no quit in her. It was her disease that took her in the end, not her grief. And up until the very end, her spirit was indomitable. Over the past year, I would talk to Jean or Terry, and they would tell me, oh, Mommy is so weak, and Mommy is in so much pain and discomfort, and the treatments take so much out of her. And then I would visit Shirley, and I'd find myself visiting the same Shirley I'd always known. You know, her hair was done to perfection, the same charm, the same grace, the same wit, the same prodigious intellect, her involvement in politics and current events and basketball. And it wasn't that they were exaggerating the weakness or the pain. It was that Shirley, time and again, pulled herself together and pushed through it because she was determined to live, because life was just too wondrous. It was too delicious not to taste it as fully as possible every single day. And she was like that to the very end. When I visited last week after she had become bedridden, she joked upon my coming into the room, oh, to be able to say I had a man in my bedroom at my age. And in that same visit, I was privileged to witness a very frank discussion about her condition in which she candidly acknowledged that she knew she had crossed a threshold and she was a step closer to dying. Shirley was not afraid of death. And when she hugged her daughters and her granddaughter and she wept and clung to you, those weren't tears of sorrow or grief or self-pity. Those were tears of love. And when she wept at the thought of the pain of her beloved brothers mourning her passing, those were tears of love. Among the countless blessings that Shirley bestowed upon one and all throughout her long life, her shining example of how she chose to live her last years and her final days are of particular moment. Her memory challenges us to be more open to life, to become more skilled at keeping our hearts in wonder at the daily miracles of our lives, so that we can become less dependent upon grief and loss, to make us aware that we love life achingly and passionately.
So I call upon her beloved daughters, Jean and Terry, along with her granddaughter, Sarah Segal Williams.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I said the other day, my gosh, we're going to have this big party, and Mommy's not going to be there. And wait a minute, I'm forgetting who said to me, oh no, she's going to be there. Was it you guys? It was Melissa, our beloved caregiver. She is the guest of honor. And she is indeed our guest of honor today. And I would first like to thank our beloved friend, Rev Bobby, for his beautiful, wonderful words. And Bobby has been such a strong presence in our lives since I was in high school. And he has provided me with countless hours of philosophical, profound conversation, and provided our family with love and support and caring. And he has spoken at all of our life events, important life occasions, and married me and my husband. And so he holds a very special place in our hearts and in our family, and we thank you, Bob. And we would like to welcome all of you and thank you all for being here. It is a wonderful thing to see so many people gathered out of love for our Mama Shoyle. And we are grateful that many of you traveled far and wide to come here. And I know my sisters will each say something, but I also have to say that we went through a profound experience with our father and his passing. And I have never in my life imagined the kind of support that we were given for taking our father through this journey. And that support was an incredibly important, profound part of that journey. And we could not have done it without the incredible circle of love by our caregiving angels here with us today, Melissa and Pebbles and Brandy, and by Vinnie Hospice and our beloved social worker, Suzanne Noble, and our beloved Rabbi Akiva, who struck up quite a relationship with our father during his illness, which was, as all of you know, our dad, pretty remarkable. And spent many hours having philosophical conversations with Rabbi Akiva and bonding with our mother. And I said to Rabbi Akiva, I felt it was so appropriate to have him presiding over this. It helped Mommy come back to her roots, and her Judaism was so profound for her. And his way of explaining Judaism has been tremendously gratifying and accessible for all of us, and made a wonderful impact on our mom, and has been a huge gift. So we thank you, Rabbi Akiva, and thank all of you caregiving angels in our lives. And I see Diana, our hospice nurse, right here as well. So we could not have had more love and support through this journey. Trying to figure out what to say about one's mom, especially our mom, is pretty tough. There are so many different areas that one could focus on. However, I just tried to narrow it down to a small part of her, which I think was, as we all in this room feel, the kind of the strongest piece of her. When you walked through the door at Mama Shoyle's home, you were instantly welcomed and automatically became family. Everyone who entered Shoyley's household entered her heart as well. Throughout our entire lives, our mother was eager to get to know our friends. She adopted them, and they became additional sons and daughters, and remained so throughout their entire adult lives, and are sitting here with us at this moment, many of them. She was bonded at the hip with her family, her beloved brothers, who cared so deeply for her, who spoiled her, the baby girl. She adored her brothers and her sisters-in-law, who were her heart sisters. She checked in with each of them numerous times a day to get the up-to-the-minute report. She developed and nurtured a strong relationship with countless nieces and nephews. And it has been so touching over the last month and period of time to see the tremendous love and care from her nephews and nieces who went above and beyond. Jeffrey taking her back and forth to chemo with Denise, and Bruce and Ellen having her over for dinner with Uncle Rush, and Helene and Betty Ann with their incredible love and nurturing. No one said this was going to be easy. I could go on about all of our cousins and the nieces and nephews and the tremendous adoration for Aunt Shirley, and we are so grateful. She was always available to hear her nieces and nephews and their confidences and give them advice. I know Julie must have called her 10 times a day, wherever you are, Julie. She delighted in each and every one of them, and she genuinely wanted to know how they were, what they were doing. She wanted to share their joys, heartaches, and sorrows, as well as their accomplishments. This was her gift, to make everyone in her life feel special. And indeed, each one was precious and special in his or her own way. And she appreciated each individual that was part of her vast, expansive circle. Every weekend of our lives was full of family and friends. Mommy cultivated a large, devoted circle of wonderful friends, and she delighted in preparing festive parties and meals, spending countless hours in the kitchen, preparing her signature specialty dishes. She gabbed on the phone for hours every weekend with her girlfriends and made endless plans for their social whirlwind of a life. She did indeed seize life. On weekends, we girls would gather around her in admiration and watch her prepare for an elegant evening as she put on her makeup and lipstick, choose her dress and shoes, and prepare for an evening of delicious food, stimulating conversation, and lots of laughter and good cheer. The key to Mama Shoyle's business success, besides the Resnick genes, was that she got to know every CEO, every secretarial assistant, every maintenance person. She knew everyone in the joint, and she remembered every single detail about them: their wife's surgery, their son or daughter's bar or bat mitzvah, their communion, their upcoming weddings, divorces, deaths in the family. And the moment she saw them, she asked how they were doing. When Mama Shoyle asked how you were, she meant it, and she expected to have a detailed, blow-by-blow account of what was happening in your life. What have we learned from our mother? We have learned to greet people with open arms, to embrace them fully, to welcome them into our home and our hearts, and to love them unconditionally. We have learned to nourish them, to feed their tummies as well as their spirit. We have learned that our hearts are boundless and we are able to love limitlessly. We are able to carry many, many people in our hearts and our lives. We have learned how to make this world a better place, as she did. We have learned how to bring joy into people's lives and how to live life to the fullest, embracing and appreciating each moment. Thank you, Mama Shoyle, for all of these gifts. I am who I am because of you. I love you with all my heart. Thank you. Thank you.
Call upon Terry.
Yes. And when cousins come up, I want you to just say a word to them. Okay. With Aline. Yeah, real quick. Thank you. Give me a second. Dear family and friends, it means so much to see you all here today, and to know that so many others are watching from afar to pay tribute to our mother, your sister, your aunt, your soul sister, your devoted friend and colleague, the thoroughly magnificent Shirley Segal. Simply her name lights everyone up. Today marks the third sunrise, without our precious, incomparably glorious, beautiful, spectacular, most beloved Mama in earthly form. She was a prize fighter to the end, displaying strength beyond belief, both throughout her life and in her courageous passing. May she now know an exquisite sense of freedom and ease forever. I simply trust that she is here with us now to fully receive our love and appreciation, our admiration and sheer awe over who she has been in this life and all that she has meant to each of us. How richly she shall be remembered as she continues to resonate far beyond her physical presence. I pray that she may truly absorb this and that such knowing brings her eternal peace and fulfillment. I echo my sister Jean's sentiments about our caregivers, and it definitely bears repeating. I'd like to begin by offering our deepest gratitude to the amazing providers who were on the front lines with us throughout this journey. Our boundless thanks go to our spectacular caregiving team from the agency Certain Care, Melissa Kennedy, Pebbles Joden, and Brandy Hannah Turner. These three remarkable women have given of their extraordinary love, excellent skill, astounding stamina, and respectful gentleness in fullest measure, not only to Mama, but to Daddy as well. We had dubbed them Daddy's Dream Team, and when Mommy's health became more deeply compromised 2 months ago, it was nothing short of a miracle, an angelic intervention, that they were all three able to step right back into such profound service. This has not just been a job for them. These women give of themselves so selflessly, beyond the demands of their own lives, and have not only loved and supported our parents
as their own friends and venerable elders, but they have also extended tirelessly and respectful attendance to my sisters and I, gently helping us to navigate the rough seas of these two most difficult passages of our lives. They have ushered both Daddy and now Mama to the other side with the gentleness and care that befits this profound role of midwife. They have become an extension of our family, and we could never have gotten through this without them, without you. Our wonderful providers from Montefiore Hospice have also been an unflagging team for us, and we are grateful to all of the beautiful nurses and doctors who guided us, and to the compassionate, grounding support of social worker Suzanne Noble. And Rabbi Akiva has served us with tremendous generosity and a form of kind wisdom that is truly a channel of gracious healing. We are grateful to Shirley's physician, Dr. Yiping Wang, who oversaw Mommy's 2-year journey with gentle grace. And now we are so grateful to Bart Barnett and the entire staff of Berkowitz-Kumin-Bookatz for supporting us through this experience, keeping Mama's tender body so respectfully protected during this period of preparation for this tribute and her final rest, a rest she had never desired, but has so richly earned for her tireless labors on behalf of others, for her 88 courageous and intrepid years. Mighty giants fall in old-growth forests. Fragrant, shaggy cedars and redwoods lay their venerable woody bodies down after witnessing so many risings and settings of the sun, so many pulsating phases of the cool white moon, so many storms whipping their limbs, strengthening their cores, and deepening their anchored stance into Mother Earth. They are charred and scarred from fires, their bodies pocketed with homes for the denizens of the woods. They are our grounding cords between heaven and earth. They are imbued with wisdom beyond ken, knowing the gift of how to stand in silent witness to our uneasy journeys. They steady us and emanate peace. These ancient ones lay themselves down. They give rise to new generations of growth. They softly receive our footfalls with a muffled, meditative silence, emitting their fragrance to soothe us, enveloping us in their aura of peace. These nurse logs nourish, they anchor, they sustain. And from their nurturance, younglings wrap their tender roots around them, like the innocent fingers of a child laced through those of a loving parent. L'adore Vidor. Shirley Segal, our most spectacular, inimitable, indomitable mama, is the most magnificent of these beings. And as we prepare to lay her dear, sweet, precious body into the earth's timeless embrace, her spirit courses through the heavens in an eternal blaze of love, of light, of inspiration and beauty. She left this world a shooting star, bursting from its earthly shell into infinite expansiveness, a space she is well equipped to occupy. I had asked Mama last week if she would please be my mother again in the next life. She nodded an intent yes, and I told her that perhaps I could be her mama also, so as to gift her in return for all that she has given me. Mama's last leg of closure with her incredible 2-year battle with leukemia, while also sustaining the loss of her beloved life mate of 67 years, was an epic expression of the incredible power of her fighting spirit and emotional depth. She has graced us with a raft of overwhelming memories and images. In one of her last, most heart-wrenchingly tender moments, she innocently said, "I am a geranium." Can you imagine such a gentle image as that? Indeed, she is the most beautiful of flowers, who emanates from the heart, one who heals simply by being. For anyone who has met her, you know that our mother, Shirley Segal, is such a rich, profound, complex, and exquisite flower as to defy the limits of language. This is simply the truth. My beloved sisters, Jeannie and Debbie, and I offered. Shirley was an indomitable and intrepid spirit who lived her life with astounding courage, strength, and fierce grace. She was a paragon of wisdom, realism, and articulate insights into the complexities of life. She met each moment with quick humor, a fiery spirit, and an incomparably devoted heart. Shirley was the embodiment of the quintessential feminine and truly exemplifies what is referred to in the Psalms as a woman of valor. I am unspeakably blessed to have been given this life by these people into this family. Mama has been my unflagging rock, my best friend. My fountain of unconditional love, wisdom, acceptance, inspiration, encouragement, endearment, humor, poignance, and generous support every moment of my life. She and precious Daddy, whom we continue to adore and grieve deeply, have given their 3 girls the best lives we could ever hope to have had in this life. They have exposed us to true beauty in heart, in spirit, in body, and in mind. They have raised us in a profound culture and heritage with a deep sense of awe for our Jewish lineage and the uniquely demanding and rich world that such a history and identity represent. They have raised us to be our own people, to respect all, to follow our bliss without judgment or interference, even when our personal choices were not what they would have preferred for us. They have been unreservedly gracious and respectful of every aspect of who we are and whomever we have brought into our lives. Both of them have made indelible marks on each person they have met with their kindness and gracious natures, and they have modeled for us both what it means to wrestle with personal demons and what it means to rise above them and to evolve. There are no words to properly convey all of this. I bow in humility and gratitude to have known and to have come from and to move forward with these incomparably remarkable beings of love, of meaning, of light. Each and every day now, I shall conjure up the sound of Mama's familiar laughter, her wise nature, both earthy and elegant, her cooing greetings, her warbling songbird voice, as she receives me with a lilt of joy and genuine interest, no matter how much pain, frustration, anxiety, or concern she might be navigating in the moment. Each and every day now, I shall tune into the sensation of her gorgeous, loving hand, wrapped gently around my face, massaging my jaw, or tracing a line, or tapping me lightly and playfully on the nose. Each and every day now, I shall see her deeply soulful eyes, pouring forth rivers of love and wisdom, looking into mine, and I shall be blessed yet again and again.
Call upon her granddaughter, Sarah Segal Williams.
Shirley Segal, my grandmother, taught me many things. How to make the perfect matzo ball, how to play a Claude Bolling arrangement, she on the piano, me on the flute. She even potty trained me. Mostly, she taught me by example how to be a strong, independent woman. She had conviction and confidence in her desire to live her life the way that she wanted to live it, and to the fullest. My image of her is her standing in the kitchen in their old house, which her office was off of. And in my mind, she is seemingly simultaneously on a business call, teaching me how to make a plum kuchen, overseeing my mom making a chicken liver pate, and cooking the rest of a Rosh Hashanah dinner, while also fielding calls from the many friends and relatives she kept in such close contact with. She had a Buick, a black sedan, that we used to call the Mafia Mobile. She did not appreciate the name. And if you never knew their old house on Ashurst, it had a narrow driveway where the generous width of the sedan could just barely fit between the brick side of the house and the neighbor's fence. And Grandma would go peeling out of that driveway, pedal to the metal, always eliciting gasps of protestation from whoever was in the car with her, which she would brush off. She kept driving that car up until she started chemo. She maintained her independence, her control over her own life for as long as she could. My grandmother encouraged and supported me through school to get a good education. In retrospect, I think that was in part because she had to fight for her own education and her own means to make a living. In recent years, when I would call her, we would mostly talk about politics and world affairs. We didn't always agree on things, but she always taught me something, and she always helped me see the world more widely, and she always impressed me with the depth of her knowledge of history and the level to which she was always informed in current affairs. I wish that she would be able to see the first woman elected president, an event that she fought for, both directly and by example. I also think Hillary could use her at the phone banks in Cleveland, as she did for Obama in 2008. I'm glad, however, that she got to see her Cavs win. That brought her much joy, although a lot of anger along the way. Mostly, I just want to thank her for being such an amazing, indomitable spirit, a woman who I admire tremendously, and just the most amazing, loving grandmother that I could have asked for. Her love was unconditional, and I know that I was lucky to be her only grandchild, probably spoiled at times in ways I saw and did not see. But she shared that love with so many people, and I'm so grateful to have had her in my life.
now share with you several readings. The first reading, When Will I Be Myself Again, will be read by her daughter, Debbie Willing.
When my sisters and I spent time selecting our readings, this one jumped off the page and really spoke to me. One of my favorite pleasures with Mama Cheryl was eating cookies and drinking tea. Sorry. She never refused a cookie. You want maybe a cookie? You have to be part of our Resnick family to really enjoy that. And it was always a time for storytelling, business advice, and solving the world affairs in the Middle East crisis. I'll miss those visits very much. When will I be myself again? When will I be myself again? Some Tuesdays, perhaps, in the late afternoon, sitting quietly with a cup of tea and a cookie. Or Wednesday, same time or later, you will stir from a nap and see her. You will pick up the phone to call her. You will hear her voice, unexpected advice, and maybe argue. And you will not be frightened, you will not be sad, and you will not be alone, not alone at all. And your tears will warm you. But not today. Not tomorrow. Not tomorrow's tomorrow, but someday. Someday late in the afternoon, sitting quietly with a cup of tea and a cookie. And you will be yourself again.
Our next selection comes with a special introduction by Jean.
I almost steadied myself on my mama there for a minute, which I think is appropriate. You got maybe a cookie is a Resnick favorite, brought to us by our beloved Uncle Joe. And we'll tell you the joke later. But we have this amazing Resnick family, as we have all mentioned, and this huge, extensive family, and so many loving cousins who have been so loyal. I see each one of them sitting here, and I was extemporaneously mentioning people and, of course, leaving people out, and I just want to say our cousins have been a constant in our lives, and somehow at this stage of our lives, our relationship together has been even more cemented as we're going through life events, many of them joyous and many of them sad, as we are losing members of our family. And our uncles and aunts have meant so much to us through the years, have been unbelievably loyal to our mother and given her such immense love, stood by her, helped her, cared for her, and have been with us through this last period, devotedly giving of themselves just continually and by our sides every day. And we thank them and thank all of our cousins. Our cousins Betty Ann and Helene are, I guess you have to call them the matriarchs of our cousin family. And we all love them quite dearly, and we have asked them to participate in honoring their Aunt Shirley. And I have to say, Cousin Helene was born 8 years after our mother. Uncle Joe was her oldest brother. So we always say that in many ways, Helene and Betty Ann were almost like little sisters from our mother, and she really kind of helped raise them in a certain way and told us stories of carrying them around like her baby dolls. So they have a very important place along with the rest of her nieces and nephews, but we pay tribute to our cousins Betty Ann and Helene and ask them to share in these readings today. This is very much their loss and all of our families' loss and all of you as well as ours.
With apologies to Rabbi Shafran, who said he knew Shirley for 50-some years. I've known Shirley for 78 and Helene 80 years. And when
Who's counting?
and as a teenager, when I chose my husband Ron to share my life, Shirley, in her inimitable way, welcomed him as a member of the family as well. I'm gonna do this. I have a poem to read, and then Helene has chosen a separate poem to read as well. I do want to say one thing. One of the many lessons that Shirley taught me yeah, just take a minute here, was that she made a difference. She made such a difference in our lives. And I've taken that on as a special lesson from her to continue that lesson with my life, hopefully as well as she did it. Thank you. When all that's left is love. When I die, if you need to weep, cry for someone walking in the street beside you. You can love me most by letting hands touch hands and souls touch souls. You can love me most by sharing your simchas and goodness and multiplying your mitzvot. You can love me most by letting me live in your eyes and not on your mind. And when you say Kaddish for me, remember what our Torah teaches. Love doesn't die, people do. So when all that's left of me is love, give me away.
Matriarch here.
And she doesn't ever let you forget it.
Shirley was an ardent Zionist, we all know that. And when Jeannie gave us the honor of reading something, I thought about the national poet of Israel, Chaim Nachman Bialik, and this particular poem, which will be in English, was my father's favorite, her brother Joe. And it starts, I know a couple lines in Hebrew. Hachnisi tachat knafech v'hayili em v'achot. Take me under your wing. Be my mother, my sister. Take my head to your breast, my banished prayers to your nest. One merciful twilight hour, hear my pain, bend your head. They say there is youth in the world. Where has my youth fled? Listen, another secret. I have been seared by a flame. They say there is love in the world. How do we know love's name? I was deceived by the stars. There was a dream. It passed. I have nothing at all in the world, nothing but a vast waste. So take me under your wing. Be my mother, my sister. Take my head to your breast, my banished prayers to your nest. We all loved Shirley so much, and she always said Resnick is best, so don't forget it.
Our next section of the service is the prayer section, and Dr. Howard Willen will be sharing with us the prayer Mikimi. It is taken from Psalm 113, and it's actually the highlight of the Passover Seder. It's part of the Hallel, the part of the section where we praise God. And the words of Mikimi highlight the fact that God has taken us from the lowest points to the highest points, from slaves to free people.
As soon as I can find it. It's here. While I'm searching for it here, the reason why I chose this particular reading, here it is. When Debbie and I got together and I joined the Segals, and we would have Passover, many of the melodies that we used were they came from my Cleveland Hebrew School history, and we would use all those. But Shirley always wanted to make sure that some of the melodies from her childhood, when she and her brothers would sing duets with some of the melodies. And so we got to doing Mikimi, and she and I would do a duet. And it was somewhat a challenge because she had a very beautiful light soprano, and I'm bass baritone depending on the day. I don't know what today is. So I thought we would give it a go. If anybody's familiar with the melody, please join along. I'm not used to singing it by myself. You want to read the English first? Or I can read the Hebrew first. Okay. Mekimi me'afardal me'ashpot yarim evyon lehoshivi im nedivim im nidivi im nidivi amo Moshiach keret habayit Moshivi akeret habayit im habanim smecha im habanim smecha im habanim smecha im habanim smecha hallelujah.
He raises the poor from the dust and lifteth the needy from the dunghill, to assign him a seat among princes, even with the princes of his people. He setteth up the barren woman to dwell in the house as a joyful mother of children. Hallelujah. At this point, I'm going to take a brief pause for some of the arrangements for today. Following today's chapel service, we will go in procession for the interment, which is scheduled to take place at the Mount Olive Cemetery. And following the interment at Mount Olive, the family will receive friends at the family residence, 19601 Van Aken Boulevard in Shaker Heights. This will be today, Thursday, following services until 8 p.m., and then again on Friday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. So at this point, I'm going to ask everyone to please rise. We're going to be led in the El Mali Rachamim prayer, again, by Dr. Howard Willen. And then at the conclusion of the El Mali Rachamim prayer, we're going to do something a little bit special, a little bit different, and that is the spice that I referred to in the beginning of the service. We're going to be led in a beautiful rendition of Hine Matov, but we don't want this to be a concert. We want it to be a collective singing. So after the El Mali Rachamim, a few people will join us in the front for the singing of the Hine Matov. Then we hope that you in the audience will join together in the words. And if you don't know the words, there's only a few of them, and they're actually listed in your program, transliterated. And then as we are singing the Hine Matov, we ask that the pallbearers come forward, and we will actually lead Shirley out of the chapel here with the recitation of the Hine Matov continuing to go on. So please remain standing for us.
El Male Rachamim Shochein Bamramim Hametzei Nechuna Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina Im Kedoshim Utaharim Gezohar Harakia Mazhirim Lenishmat Sarah Bat Yaakov Vayisne Shalcha Be'olama Bal Harachamim Yastireha Beseta Knafecha Li'olamim Vayitzror hachayim et nishmata Adonai hu nachlata Vatanuach bashalom al mishkava v'nomar Amen.
O God, full of mercy, who dwells on high, grant proper rest on the wings of the divine presence, in the lofty levels of the holy and the pure ones who shine like the glow of the firmament. For the soul of our beloved Shirley Segal, Sarah, the daughter of Yaakov and Asna, who has gone unto her world, and whose memory we pray. May her resting place be in the Garden of Eden. May the Master of Mercy shelter her in the shelter of his wings for all eternity. May he bind her soul in the bond of life. God is her heritage. May she repose in peace on her resting place. And we say together, Amen.
Amen.